show I did in like 1990, 1991.
Yeah, he's great at what he does.
Well, he juggles and fucking really, like, you can't take your eyes off the guy. He's fat. And I mean that as a positive.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be like dismissive, like he juggles. But like he's juggling fucking chainsaws on a unicycle. You kind of go, fuck the sitcom. Who's this guy? But audience warm-up's like it's the hardest job in show business.
Well, I stay away from the sitcoms. I've not done audience warm-up at a sitcom just because of that. I think the audiences are they're in from the church, they're middle of the road, and it's just a lot more pressure. I like doing the variety shows, the Best Damn Sports Show, the Comedy Central shows, not...
That producer in the hallway, when the audience warm-up guy comes out with a complaint, the producer's knee-jerk response 10 times out of 10 is, we have to fucking get rid of this warm-up guy.
Yeah. I'm
taking shit from a warm-up guy?
Yeah, and I felt that I had some wiggle room in a sense that I'd been there for 400 shows, and I haven't had any complaints other than complaints to help the show be better.
So so you realize you blew up his conversation.
Which wasn't bad. I mean,
and not in the real world, but for a producer and a warm-up guy, someone that has established the paradigm of who talks to who and how, which is how TV works.
Yeah.
It's absurd. What happened after that where you were no longer employed by Chelsea Lately?
Well, I went back into went to the bathroom, and then one of the other producers said, "What happened? What was going on?" And I said, "The crew guys are goofing around." Then I was talking to so-and-so, and I was just like, he says, "Don't worry about it. Just go back in there and keep doing it." So I went back in, finished a show, and then between shows, I was backstage, and I was talking to Joe Coy, who was on the show. And then the producer came in, the one that I like vented to, and basically within a minute he was saying that I was unprofessional and I shouldn't have done that, and you're just a warm up. And
so he said you shouldn't have done that, meaning come out at the hallway and vent to me.
Yeah,
because that's like, God forbid you act like a human being,
right?
Like, exactly. Hey, I'm having a real tough time in there. Hey, that's unprofessional. Don't talk to me.
Yeah,
know your place.
Yeah,
I'm a landowner. You're a serf. Beat it.
That's kind of what it was.
Didn't go to college. Know the feudal system.
I like serf peasant.
Was Chelsea nice to you?
Yeah, Chelsea was always nice to me.
I fish all the time. I can't get anybody to say anything bad about the lady. Apparently, she just seems pretty cool.
She is cool. Did
you hit that?
Chelsea? Oh, yeah. But she's always been nice to me. I didn't have a problem with her. I had a problem with, the producer. And then,
I don't think you had a problem with her. I was just asking for dirt.
Yeah, no, she's nice. She's nice, and, she's put me back on the show. I'll be back on later next...
On panel, though.
Yeah, on panel.
So through you interrupting a producer and a producer acting very producer-esque and douchey, you, in a way, got a promotion.
Yes.
Good.
But I miss doing the warm-up. I kind of
Wouldn't you rather do the panel and get the juice and the notoriety, and then that's where you're going to get much more of a stand-up audience that get you.
Yeah.
Because they know your exact way of doing jokes from watching you and Chelsea Lately.
Well, they were putting me on the show when I was doing warm-up also.
Oh, well, then never mind. Then I don't know what I'm talking about.
I was able to do warm-up, and then they would say, I'd be scheduled to do the...
Look, my DVR is set for gigolos. I don't have time for Chelsea Lately. Have you seen Gigolos on Showtime?
No, it's that's that...
The show about gigolos, Brody. You're like, is that show where the...
I was thinking Juggalos.
No, that's different.
Insane Clown Posse.
Yeah, gigolos, like, they follow for, like, actual gigolos, and you watch them fucking pile drive ugly ladies.
Really?
And they have, like, competition. My wife goes, leave it to America where whores, actual filming whores.
Yeah.
There still has to be some type of contest. Like, who can fucking get that horse to turn around the fastest? And then you'll win the prize of the real good date.
So the girls aren't attractive on that show?
I mean, they're hiring a gigolo, Brody.
Wow.
Yeah, they're hot.
I got to see
like,
that.
I can go out to the bars and troll for dick, or...
So they got to bang ugly chicks.
That's kind of the job, right?
Oh, that's hard to do.
And they show the guys like dicks and shit, and you go, I didn't need to see that, but let me rewind that and see what this guy's working with. You had a bit of a public meltdown because it was on Twitter, and Twitter now is the world's CNN.
Yes.
Now, I'm of the old school terrestrial radio and WWF. Everything's kind of a bit. Like when you get in a fight with a radio guy, it's all kind of a bit.
Mm-hmm.
There's not really a war with a radio guy. It's all the radio guy knows he's going to stretch it out and make it go as long as possible for a bit.
Yeah.
So when I was reading your tweets when you're having your meltdown, is it fair to call it a meltdown?
I'll accept that.
Breakdown? Breakthrough.
Breakdown.
Okay.
A melt break.
How much of it was a bit and a little bit of a play?
I would say 90% real, 10% comedy.
It probably started as comedy, and then you kind of went down the rabbit hole and realized, wow, I need maybe some medical attention.
I never thought I needed medical attention until it was forced upon me.
By who? By whom?
My friends.
I want names, Steven.
Well, if you watch the show, Dave Rath and Zach.
All right. Maybe get Brady some help. Yeah.
They were all involved in kind of getting me stable. What happened was, in my mind, and I go over it every day, and I think about it every day. Basically, it was a year ago, a little over a year ago, and I had been away from Chelsea probably at that point for about a year and a half, 2 years, going on probably a year and a half, not having that regular structure. So I was like, okay, you got to be a comedian. They're there to see you. You're not doing warm-up anymore. Even though I would pick up a warm-up gig here and there, but it was like, okay, that's on me. So went to Ireland and performed in Ireland. I'd never been over there before.
Did they get you?
Yeah, I did pretty well.
It seems like they would really dig Brody Stevens.
They liked it.
Yeah.
So I did well over in Ireland.
Big in Ireland. Aaron go brah.
Enjoy it. Language barrier, non-existent. So I did that, and I had fun. And then right from there, we flew to Montreal, did the Montreal Comedy Festival.
Who's we?
I'll say just me. I mean, a couple guys also went over there, but it was just me.
You said that like you were on the Zeppelin jet. Led Zeppelin jet, not a Zeppelin. That's also a jet. Sorry. I
went over there.
Me and John Paul Jones and Jimmy Page, then we go to Montreal.
We flew to Montreal and through Newark. Had to go through there.
It's nice.
And
if you're a fire. Anyway.
I got to, and I like how you pepper in the jokes. That's good. Keep the audience. You got to keep your audience here.
It's also OCD. I can't stop talking. So Charlie Rose would just sit here and listen to you like he does on your show.
He did. I did the Charlie Rose show. That was great.
I saw it.
So I get to Montreal. I'm feeling good. I remember I'm feeling good. I was rationing a little bit, possibly on my Lexapro in Ireland. I was taking 20 milligrams of Lexapro, which is an antidepressant, anti-anxiety.
So you suffer from depression, pre-everything. You're diagnosed as suffering from depression?
I would say actually more OCD, more obsessive.
Really?
Yeah.
And then you prescribed Lexapro, which is a super drug, meaning I'm on Klonopin, which is also a super drug for panic attacks. Klonopin is for seizures. But if you don't have seizures, it rededicates itself.
I have Klonopin also now.
And it redirects itself to stop the life-saving levels of adrenaline and endorphins that get released into your body during a panic attack. And I believe Lexapro is also that type of drug. It's an antidepressant that will also work for OCD. Is that correct?
Yes. But Klonopin works quicker.
For OCD?
You can take a Klonopin in a half hour, you feel the results. Whereas Lexapro, it takes a couple weeks to get in your system.
But if you're taking it what was your primary?
I was taking it to take the edge off, meaning that...
Well, that's what alcoholics do, too.
Right. Well, I don't drink much, if any.
But were you prescribed by a psychiatrist?
Doctor. I was not seeing a psychiatrist.
A doctor said...
regular doctor.
I think you have OCD.
I said...
Okay. Yeah, it's faster if you tell me.
I said, it's like I stare in the mirror... And I also, it's hard to keep up with his Facebook, the MySpace. I'm working. And
your doctor said, you sound like a lead singer.
Yeah.
Staring in the mirror and trying to update your... All right, sorry.
So he said...
Hold on a second. That's me throwing out that joke.
He said, try this Lexapro. A lot of people take it. So I took Lexapro, and you know what? I felt good. It kind of evened me out. And
But what was your thing?
I wasn't feeling good. I would be depressed because I was obsessive.
Okay.
It bothered me that I was so insecure about things.
So you were depressive.
Excessive compulsive depressive. But I was only depressed as
Say it 3 times fast.
I was only depressed because of that. I didn't have like times where I'd curl up in the fetal position and sleep and all that. I mean, occasionally, once in a while, like in college or in high school. Who hasn't had that?
We're
happen?
leading into a breakdown, so maybe not. Maybe you actually had. Maybe that doctor nipped something important in the bud. So you're prescribed Lexapro at that time.
Taking Lexapro.
You're in Ireland. You take your Lexapro. Why were you rationing it?
Because I wanted to get off it. Because I would. And
I've done that before. I did it with Paxil. Did you ever try to get off? You ever been on Paxil?
No.
The worst ever.
Right.
Don't do it. The commercial for Paxil is a cartoon. I think it's because it would probably be medically unethical to show human beings on Paxil because it's so fucking bad for you.
It's bad for you.
Getting off Paxil, did you ever take Paxil? Did you ever take it? Like, I felt like, you know when you stand up too fast and you get lightheaded and you feel like you're going to pass out?
Yeah.
And the moment you have the thought of, wow, I'm lightheaded, I might pass out, you're exponentially more lightheaded.
Yes.
And then when you realize, wow, I'm way more lightheaded and then as that thought happens, you're like, I have tunnel vision, and then somehow you get your shit together. That would happen in like a bloop, in a heartbeat, and it would go through my body like a pulse. And one thing they never tell you about Paxil is you can't come. And that's kind of important when you're married. Otherwise, your wife will go, what's wrong with me? That you can't... Like, I would make love to my wife, and she would be shorter when we were done. I mean, it was brutal and terrible. So, Lexapro...
You couldn't ejaculate? Or it took a long time?
I had times where I just couldn't at all.
See, Lexapro has less sexual side effects.
They leave that out of the Paxil commercials.
Okay. Yeah, I stayed... I've not been on Paxil.
You want to lose 10 pounds? Fuck until you pass out.
Yeah.
Paxil. So Lexapro, you wanted to get off it. Why did you want to get off it?
Because
it was working.
I couldn't drink, really. I would go... If I went out drinking with my friends occasionally, I'd vomit after 3 beers.
So then don't drink.
Well... you're right.
I think it's male ego. We don't like we don't like to say, I don't have control, I need help. So, because I pushed back with my psychopharmacologist. Like, I went to the beach and I'd forgotten my Klonopin halfway over the hill to the beach. I went all the way back in rush hour to put a Klonopin in my pocket, then went back to the beach. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. And she says, no, I had a great psychiatrist in New York, Dr. Noelle Taylor. She goes, if you had asthma that crippled you and I gave you an inhaler that made you able to breathe, wouldn't you go back and get that inhaler? And I said, yeah. She goes, it's the same thing because you're a guy and it has to do with your mental health. Mm-hmm. Your machismo tries to take over because you want to fix it yourself and it makes you feel less than.
Yeah. That may have played into it also.
Excuse me, and I got super sidetracked and I made it about me. That's why I, in the past, had tried to ration.
Well, mine was having to go pee all the time. Like I remember I had to get up like 2-3 times a night to go pee. Couldn't drink. And maybe I also wanted to get off it because of that machismo stuff. So we went to Ireland. I think I was rationing a little bit, not much. And then I got to Montreal, and after a first day, I just started getting sick. And I had the flu, I had strep throat. And looking back on it, maybe that was just withdrawal. Could have been just going through withdrawal.
I think that's just airline stuff.
That was my feeling. So
I don't think it's withdrawal. Lexapro is pretty gentle.
But there's bad withdrawal in Lexapro, I heard.
Yes, but you were rationing. Did you know Celexa is an exact mirror of Lexapro for the human brain?
I was on that before.
Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know how they've come up with this stuff.
Well, Lexapro is like, it just has less sexual side effects than Celexa.
But the drug itself is a mirror reflection of the other drug. Like,
oh, really?
It's an exact... I don't know how to explain it the way she explained it to me, but it's... If you look at yourself in the mirror, how your right eye is your left eye, and it's that. Mm-hmm. And it's just that exact opposite approach. Same drug, really. Just that exact mirror opposite approach to the psychopharmacological.
Does one work better than the other?
It just depends on the person. I think a lot of it's psychosomatic too. I was asked once by Barry Katz, if you found out Klonopin was a placebo, what would you feel? And I'd say, I'd be thrilled. I wouldn't give a shit. Some people would be like, yeah, probably be like, some people go like, I'd be pissed off. I wasted all that time and energy. I wasted time and energy being able to breathe on airplanes. So I wouldn't be mad at all. So you're in a show I did in like 1990, 1991.
Yeah, he's great at what he does.
Well, he juggles and fucking really, like, you can't take your eyes off the guy. He's fat. And I mean that as a positive.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be like dismissive, like he juggles. But like he's juggling fucking chainsaws on a unicycle. You kind of go, fuck the sitcom. Who's this guy? But audience warm-up's like it's the hardest job in show business.
Well, I stay away from the sitcoms. I've not done audience warm-up at a sitcom just because of that. Just I think the audiences are really they're in from the church, they're middle of the road, and it's just a lot more pressure. I like doing the variety shows, the Best Damn Sports Show, the Comedy Central shows. Not
that producer in the hallway. Mm-hmm. When the audience warm-up guy comes out with a complaint, the producer's knee-jerk response 10 times out of 10 is, we have to fucking get rid of this warm-up guy.
Yeah. I'm
taking shit from a warm-up guy?
Yeah, and I felt that I had some wiggle room in a sense that I'd been there for 400 shows, and I haven't had any complaints other than complaints to help the show be better.
So so you realize you blew up his conversation.
Which wasn't bad. I mean,
and not in the real world, but for a producer and a warm-up guy, someone that has established the paradigm of who talks to who and how, which is how TV works.
Yeah.
It's absurd. What happened after that where you were no longer employed by Chelsea Lately?
Well, I went back into went to the bathroom, and then one of the other producers said, what happened? What was going on?